Hey there, A-Bird, Freedom Fam, and the Combatant Nation. So as you saw in the thumbnail, today we're going to triage and assess a Kimber 1911. That's what's in the case. So reading the tag, this is the information that I had to work on. Will not cycle properly. It's a Kimber stainless 2. Alright, so let's get into this. Full disclosure, I've already been through it. I'm just going to go over what I did. I had somebody in the shop that was actually kind of watching what I was doing and asked me about it. And then said it was actually pretty interesting. Whether it is or whether it isn't, go ahead, put it in the comments. If this is interesting, say interesting. If not, say don't do this no more. Whatever you want to do. But first and foremost, as always, the bench contains no live ammunition. That way we cannot inadvertently make a loaded firearm to have a oopsie. So let's go ahead and let's see what we got here first. I've already associated my muzzle away from me. There is no source of feed, so it was sent without a magazine. And trying to do it away from the camera. Let's go ahead and just do it for everybody to see. I don't know why I did it that way. Put it in the comments. You're an idiot. Whatever. Anyhow, moving on. Enough of that. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Let's do more of this. So we know we have a clear firearm. So one of the first things that I like to do when a gun comes in and it's a big mystery is I'll start to look for signs of damage. Obvious signs of damage. Maybe it's been beat on, dropped. Maybe it's not clean. That's one of the things I also look for. As we all know, 1911s, they are that high maintenance girlfriend. They like to be clean and they like to be lubricated. They also like to be fed the correct ammunition. A lot of 1911s do not like majority of hollow points, and that is because the 1911 pistol was designed to run 230 grain ball. I have no information on what ammo. I would have liked to have had the magazine to assess it to see if maybe we have a magazine issue that's actually causing what appears to be a cycling issue, right? Maybe a feeding issue. But one thing I do look for is I will go to the slide stop / takedown. And I will look at that frame and see if there's a bunch of scarring and scratching where somebody's been pressing down and rolling it up. And on this one, there's a very light mark, probably done once or twice. And let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start the disassembly. I am not going to show a lot of disassembly in this video. I'll talk through it. I don't know where that threshold is to get a strike, and I'm not looking for that. One thing I will say, though, everybody assumes that you must have a barrel bushing tool. If you have one of these, a GI style magazine, inevitably you have your barrel bushing tool because the foot of that magazine fits perfectly into the end of the guide rod or the bottom of the barrel bushing, not to get too technical. And that's going to allow you to very easily turn your barrel bushing so that you can remove your spring cap and your recoil spring. They're out of the way now. Pretty simple, right? And then I'll go ahead and go on with the quick removal of the slide and show a few areas that I look for, put it back together, and then we'll actually assess it. And next stage will be get it out to the range and fire. Just like that, with very basic video editing skill, we're back. Some of the things I'm going to look for is I'm actually going to take the slide stop takedown pin and I'm going to actually check and make sure that we're not getting a lot of deep gouges or wear. We're not getting anything crazy going on. And then also one of the things that you can do is take something that makes a good right angle and just ensure that for whatever reason the pin portion of the slide stop hasn't bent away from the flange that goes to the outside, the actual lever, the control. I'm going to take my barrel bushing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look inside and I want to see if there's any heavy scarring or grinding, like maybe the barrel and the bushing are not fitted together and happy. Guide rod. Full length. It is a Kimber, so it is going to be a full length guide rod 9 times out of 10. But I'm looking to see, is there any abnormal beating and banging going on, any abnormal recoil spring wear. I see nothing. Actually, it appears to be a low round count pistol. Next, I'm going to go to the barrel. I'm going to look at the actual length of the barrel, especially the end, and see how that mating surface is, or where the barrel travels through the barrel bushing. Is it really happy? I'm going to look at my locking lugs. Is it rounding corners on the locking lugs? Is it grinding on the top of the barrel? Come back to the barrel hood. Is it grinding on the slide? Is it having to force fit itself, in other words? Look at my barrel link. The pin is there. Everything's in good condition. It moves freely. And then it's going to be hard to see on camera, but I'll actually look inside and see, is that slide stop takedown pin that retains the barrel link in place, is it wearing an oblong spot in there, like maybe it's the wrong size bushing? None of that is relevant, or none of it is there. It's all relevant. Next, I'm going to go to my slide. I'm going to look at my slide and see, is the disconnect wearing a gouge in the bottom of the slide? Is it having a problem dropping the disconnect? Are the slide rails getting chewed up? Everything looks good. I'll also go, it's going to be very hard to see on camera, but I'll go right in here, right there, and I'll see if the locking lug portion of my slide, if it's rounding off, or if it's got a shiny spot, or a burr, or a high spot. None of that is here. From there, I'm going to move on to my frame. When I go to my frame, I'm actually going to look at the front section of the frame where the recoil spring and guide rod actually live. Is it beating on the bottom of the slide? No, it's not. So everything seems to be pretty happy. I'm going to look at my slide rails. Is one of them super shiny and one of them not shiny, where maybe one is thinner than the other? Or mismatched for the slide, for fitment? I see none of that. I look at my ejector. Is my ejector beat up? And it's not. I'm going to look at the feed ramp. When I look at the feed ramp, I'm not worried about automatically going to a polishing on the feed ramp. Does it have a lot of machining marks? And this one actually came in pretty dirty. I've already cleaned it. That's what I was doing when the other customer was like, hey, that's pretty cool. What's going on? Why are you doing that? And I explained to him the issue with the pistol. And in order for me to see what's really going on, it's kind of like a mechanic. You got to take it out and drive it. But I'm pretty sure that what I've done is the answer. So I cleaned everything up, cleaned up the feed rinse, cleaned up the chamber, went ahead and made sure everything's nice and clean, and then greased the slide rails on the frame and the slide, because it did come in pretty dry. And like we stated in the beginning, 1911s are quintessentially that high maintenance girlfriend. Clean, lubed, proper ammo, they go. So that's just the original, the initial triage, you might say. When the medevac bird came into the combat evacuation hospital, put it in shiny military terms for shits and giggles, that's the first thing I did. No ammunition on the bench, clear it, look it over, is it dirty, get it clean, get it lubed, look over everything, make sure we don't have any abnormal wear. There is going to be normal wear. Abnormal wear is going to be deep gouges, spots that have no gouges, while other spots have a tremendous amount of wear, as if something is kicked to the side or something's not lined up and happy. Because anything that slows the firearm down traveling from battery being fired back into dwell, which is when the slide is to the rear before it returns forward, anything that impedes that is going to slow it down from picking up the next round and returning fully to battery. As we all know, a pistol out of battery should not fire. So that's one of the reasons that they also talk about limp wristing. You've got to maintain control of the frame so the slide has its ability to reciprocate or travel back and forth, going from battery to dwell, dwell back to battery, fully chambering that round, cocking the hammer, and allowing you to press the trigger. I will not press the trigger because there's no slide. That, in a nutshell, is just a quick triage and assessment of this Kimber 1911. Stay tuned. There will be a range portion, and due to the fact a couple of customers have asked me about my adopted Kimber 1911, exact same pistol, but mine was abandoned in a plastic bag for a couple years and was brought back to life. Dr. Frankenstein the shit out of it with some Wilson Combat parts and a little bit of TLC love and care. Stay tuned for that one. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. And if there's something that you do when you do a basic triage on a 1911, go ahead and put it in the comments. This is not an end-all be-all. Nobody is a genius. The only people I know that know everything are unfortunately passed on and they're in the ground. With that, everybody be safe. It is summer. Hydrate. Shoot straight. Enjoy your firearms. Stay tuned for the Kimber Stainless Part 2.